giving all glory and honor and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, teaching this 100% truth. Shalom and salutation to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men, women, and children. I'm your brother Magan Shalamar. The title of this video is "The False Flag is a Diabolical Tactic Used by Esau Against Jacob." This video shows you how such a devil Esau is in his ways of dealing with Jake. So this video is for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. This is not for monetary gain.
This is not speculation. Every detail in this episode comes directly from declassified U.S. government documents. In April of 1961, the United States launched a secret invasion of Cuba. It was supposed to be quick, surgical, quiet, but instead it became one of the greatest foreign policy disasters in American history. Over 1,400 CIA-backed exiles stormed the beaches of the Bay of Pigs, and within 3 days they were either captured, killed, or forced to surrender. The plan had been to overthrow Fidel Castro. What America got instead was a global embarrassment. In the months that followed, something changed inside the United States national security apparatus. Publicly, Washington claimed restraint. Privately, it was a different story. Behind closed doors, military leaders believed the only way forward was war. But with the American people still reeling from a failed invasion, public support wasn't guaranteed. That's when a new plan was drafted. One that would guarantee outrage, one that would rally the nation, and one that, if approved, would cross a line no republic should ever entertain. A plan that, if executed, would have killed innocent Americans on American soil, just to start a war. The plan called for hijackings, bombings, staged funerals, even a fake airliner explosion. And none of it was coming from a foreign enemy. It came from the Pentagon. This wasn't a rogue idea scribbled on a napkin. This was signed off by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They called it Operation Northwoods. So why would a U.S. military plan a false flag terror attack on its own people? And what does it say about the lines our leaders are willing to cross when they think no one's watching? Let's try and find out. Hello, I'm Mike Joberg, a Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History. The Bay of Pigs wasn't just a military disaster, it was a psychological one. For the CIA, it was a gut punch. For the Pentagon, a humiliation. And for the Kennedy administration, a PR nightmare. What most Americans didn't realize was that President John F. Kennedy had only been in office for 3 months when the invasion began. He hadn't created the plan, he had inherited it. A cockamamie CIA scheme hatched under the Eisenhower administration that was already in motion by the time he took the oath of office. The invasion had been sold as airtight, but in reality, it was underfunded, poorly coordinated, and based on a wildly optimistic assumptions about the Cuban people rising up against Castro. They didn't. The world watched as America's covert operation fell apart in real time. Castro paraded prisoners in front of cameras. Khrushchev mocked U.S. weakness. And inside Washington, patience wore thin. And once given the green light, the failure landed squarely on Kennedy's shoulders. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, America's top military leaders, began pushing for something far more aggressive. They didn't want another half-baked mission. They wanted a full-scale invasion of Cuba, but there was a problem. The American people weren't interested in another war. Not after Korea, not after the Bay of Pigs. And without public outrage, there could be no political mandate for military action. That's when a new idea emerged. Not one based on intelligence or diplomacy, but on manipulation. If they couldn't win the hearts and minds honestly, they'd manufacture the crisis themselves. And in March of 1962, the U.S. Department of Defense submitted a proposal that would send shockwaves through history, though the public wouldn't learn about it for another 35 years. The proposal was called Operation Northwoods. And it came directly from the Joint Chiefs of Staff, America's highest-ranking military brass. And it wasn't just one bad idea, it was a checklist of chaos. The plan outlined a series of false flag operations, attacks that would appear to be carried out by Cuba, but were actually staged by the US government. The goal? Create a public justification for a full-scale military invasion. Some of the suggestions read like scenes from a dystopian screenplay. They included fake hijackings of commercial airlines blamed on Cuban agents, bombings in Miami, Washington, and even inside US military installations. A drone airliner, painted to match a real passenger flight, would be remotely destroyed over Cuban waters. A list of fake victims, complete with staged funerals, would be published to sell the illusion. They even considered sinking a US Navy ship and faking Cuban sabotage, or staging a deadly riot among Cuban exiles in Florida, supposedly incited by Castro's agents. The memo even referenced history itself, suggesting a new Remember the Maine incident, a nod to 1898 when the mysterious explosion of a US warship triggered war with Spain. They wanted to follow the same blueprint, manufacture a tragedy, blame the enemy, and rally the nation. One memo proposed assassinating Cuban refugees or American civilians to generate a helpful wave of indignation across the country. These weren't.
That's Esau Edom, the devil, man. He hates Jake. Cuba is a tribe of Manasseh, right? That's from the 12 tribes of Israel, part of the northern tribe. So this is the hatred that the so-called white man has for the children of Israel. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. So this is what comforts Esau, is to kill and destroy his brother Jacob. And it's always been in the heart of the so-called white man, Esau Edom, is to destroy the children of Israel, and that's a perpetual hatred that he has for his brother. So it's not going to change until Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, when he returns, he have to deal and destroy this man. He got to destroy America. And that's going to break the rulership of this damn devil that has the power of this earth is given into his hands. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And we know that, one of his devices, his diabolical devices, his tactic is the false flags. And we know that in order to bring out that one world order, right, it's going to be some type of false flag that he's going to come up with in order to issue out the mark of the beast. We know it to be the micro C hip. We're not ignorant of that. We know who the men in the great millstone, starting from apostles on down, all the elders and the prophets, They on the highways and byways warning the so-called the Israelites, and mainly waking up the hopeful elect to this devil, man. We can't be at this time. You can't be ignorant of his devices. He's gonna pull out all stops in order to try to get rid of the Israelites. That's always been his motive. This is Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture says unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So this is why, America, known as spiritual Egypt, is being so powerful on this earth, and that the Lord is going to deal with America, and America is going to become that lake of fire. It's going to be utterly destroyed. Why? Because when all the whole world sees this, they're going to know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai did it. He's going to establish his name throughout the whole entire earth. And when America goes down, that's breaking the rulership of Esau's Edom, the wicked on this earth. This is Psalms 83, starting at verse 1. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O almighty power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. Yeah, because Esau, Edom being the wickedest on this earth, along with the other nations, heathen nations, they all lift up their head against Israel. They have taken crafty counsels against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who's his hidden ones? Israel, beginning with the elect. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, because they know that Israel is Yasha'Allah, means the prince of the power. We're the gods on this earth. We're God's chosen people, man. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They don't agree, but they agree with this. They agree with this one thing, is to cut us off from being a nation. The tabernacle of Edom and of Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes. Right, the top of the list is Esau, the so-called white man. We just read that Esau was going to kill his brother Jacob as soon as he finished mourning for his father, and that's been forever going, man. Isaiah 14:1. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Right, because the strangers is talking about the Israelite foreigners, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, when he returns, he's going to set us in that land, right? And we're going to dwell there. So them people over there now, they're calling themselves they call themselves the Jews, but they're not. Them the small hats, Amalek. Verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them into their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Right, that's why Esau, Edom, that's why they mad. That's why the other nations hate us, man, because this is the blessing that the Lord had given. He promised Abraham to give unto his seed, that went from Abraham to Isaac, and from Isaac to Jacob, and from Jacob it got passed down to his 12 sons. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, from the fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Right, we've been made to serve this devil, man. We still here in bondage here in America. Verse 4, and that thou shalt take up a proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, that golden city? And we know how it's going to cease. We know how that golden city, Babylon the Great, known as America today, is going to cease. is going to cease through Yahweh Shah when he returns with his angels, when they crack that sky and them tens of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of angels in them chariots, blasting them with that nuclear, with that laser beam and that pure fire from heaven. This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. It's only going to take Yahweh Shah 1 hour to destroy this damn place that took them from over what? Been over here for almost over 400 years and to establish America. In 1 hour, this shit going to be burning, become a lake of fire. This is Micah chapter 4, beginning verse 6. In that day said Yahweh, I will assemble her that halteth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. Halted is like being crippled. Who the ones that are crippled here on this earth? The Israelites. We're the ones that doesn't have any power. Without Yahweh Shah being our protector, we don't have no power against this damn devil. Right? We're being afflicted by Esau, Edom, and the rest of the nation. But Esau being the main. And I will make her that halted a remnant, and her that was cast far off a strong nation. And Yahweh shall reign over them in the Mount Zion from henceforth even forever. You see, starting with the elect. Right? He's going to make us a strong nation again. Why? Because when we go over into the kingdom, when we get our kingdom back, we get them damn devils up out of there, and them Ishmaelites the fuck up out of there. You know, Israel gonna be being brought back through who? Through the elect. And thou, O tower of the flock, which is the elect, the stronghold of the daughter of Zion, unto thee shall it come, even the first dominion. The kingdom shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Right? You see, the elect is gonna get the first dibs. Now, why dost thou cry out aloud? Is there no king in thee? Is thy counselor perished? For pangs have taken thee as a woman travail. Be in pain and labor to bring forth a daughter, O Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field. When we was chased out of Jerusalem, we ran into the field talking about West Africa, and thou shalt go even to Babylon here in America, and there shalt thou be delivered. See, we're going to be delivered. The main deliverance is going to be here in America, because this is where majority of the Israelites are going to be. We're here in America being oppressed together. There Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, shall redeem thee from the hands of thine enemies. So that tells you who was our enemy, Esau, Edom. So with that, I hope you was edified, giving all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone. Hope you was edified. Shalom.